Alright you guys, we have a special guest star today, as you guys can see. He doesn't want to be held by anyone that isn't me right now. Let's see how much of this video I can actually film in one take. But today I wanted to reflect on my 2023 reading goals, as well as set up new goals for 2024 and give you guys a tour of my digital reading journal. I've never done a reading journal before and I really wanted to do one in 2024, but I knew if I bought a physical book journal, I wasn't going to keep up with it. And then I found this really cute one on Etsy that I want to show you guys, so stay tuned until the end of the video for that portion. But like I said, I wanted to reflect on my reading goals of 2023, and when I sat down to brainstorm this video, I kid you not, I could not remember what my 2023 reading goals were. I literally had to watch my own video to figure out what my goals were, and as I was watching them, I had completely forgot that I even created them, but I actually managed to accomplish a couple of them. That's why I'm a firm believer of writing down your goals and putting them into the universe, because I feel like once you set your goals, you write them down, they're kind of cemented in your subconscious and you're able to accomplish them, because I accomplished a lot of my reading goals and I had completely forgotten I had even set them. That's the crazy part. The first goal that I had for 2023 was to read 65 books. I accomplished that goal. I knew of this goal the entire year because it was on my Goodreads account. I'm actually over 100 books right now, and there's about 3 weeks left of December, and I do plan on reading more books, so I don't have a final total number of books I've read in 2023 yet, but I know that I am over 100, which makes me so incredibly proud, especially since I didn't know how much time I was going to have to read this year, especially my little one being born in April and me jumping into motherhood. I didn't really expect to have time to read, but I underestimated how much newborns and little babies sleep and how many naps they take per day. So I definitely made time to read this year, and I'm very proud of myself because reading makes me happy. The second goal that I had was to read different genres. I definitely accomplished that. I read so many different genres this year. I read fantasy, romance, obviously that's my number one, thrillers. I even read a little bit of historical fiction here and there. I don't think I read horror though. Yeah, actually no, I'm lying. I did read horror. The only genre that I didn't really read was nonfiction, and I don't really care for that genre, so no loss there. But I definitely did expand from just reading romance and fantasies. I feel like last year I read a ton of romances and a little bit of fantasy, but this year I definitely expanded the genres that I read, which is cool. And then my next goal was to read more books out of my comfort zone, and this is something that I definitely did as well. In 2022, I read a lot of romance, like I just said, and I really stuck with the romance genre. I didn't really go out of my comfort zone, and I feel that in 2023, I really did step out of my comfort zone. I tried new authors, I tried new genres. I read books that no one really talked about here on BookTube or Book Talk. I read sad books, which I'm not a sad book reader. I like to read happy, fluffy romances, and I even dabbled in the sad book genre, which took a lot of recovery from, but I did it and I survived. Oh, and now my cat's joining. It's a party over here, you guys. Oh, be nice. Be nice, you can't pull. And then my next goal was to read for fun, not necessarily for content. And I definitely did that this year. I think being a mom definitely helped me a lot with this goal without me even realizing it, because I didn't have a ton of time to read. So the times that I did sit down with a book, I wanted to make sure I was reading said book because I wanted to, not because it was popular or because I needed to create content around it. Obviously, I uploaded weekly reading vlogs, so I read books and filmed myself reading them, but at the same time, those books were books that I wanted to read. I didn't feel forced to read those books, you know what I mean? And then my next goal was to donate more books. This is something I definitely failed at, and I'm mad at myself about that, but you know what? The year is still not over. I can definitely still I honestly just forgot to. I know that's a lame excuse, but I truly did forget to donate books. I mean, the year is still not completely over, so I can definitely drop off a box at my local library. I have some books I have to return anyway, so I might as well donate some books that I have and that I'm not going to sell. I did sell a lot of books this year on my Macari and on Pango Books. The year's still not completely over. I still have time to accomplish this goal. My next goal was to support local and independent bookstores. I didn't really do this. I honestly honestly didn't even go to Barnes and Nobles that much. I feel like last year I went to Barnes and Nobles at least 3 or 4 times a month. This year I barely went, and I went to the library once, so I don't know if that counts as independent bookstores because it's a library, but I'm gonna count it. And I got a library card, which I think is huge. It might not be huge for a lot of people who go to libraries all the time. I haven't been to a library prior to this year since I was in college, and I haven't had the library card for much longer than that, so I'm really proud of myself for getting a library card. And now I can take my son to the library more often, pick out books for him, pick out books for myself, and make a whole day out of it. And I think it's really cute and special. My next goal was to buy a Kindle. I actually debated buying a Kindle this entire year and decided against it. I decided to just read on my phone and my iPad. I've been reading on my phone and iPad for years, never had any issues with it, so I didn't want to spend money on a Kindle when I didn't really need to. I definitely reflected. I was like, do I need a Kindle or do I want it? Definitely was a want, but I don't really see the need to buy a Kindle. I don't know. Maybe I'll buy one in 2024, but right now I'm content with not having one. And I'm also in a very big decluttering stage. I definitely want to limit how much stuff I have and how many gadgets I have, and the Kindle is just not priority for me right now. My final reading goal for 2023 was to annotate more books, and I definitely accomplished this. I think I only realistically annotated maybe like 4 or 5 books, but that's a huge accomplishment. I used to be the type of reader that was so against marking up books. I thought it was sacrilegious to mark up books. I didn't see the point in ruining a beautiful book, but I've definitely changed my view on that. I think it's fun to underline and highlight like your favorite quotes that you can go back to, your favorite parts of the book. So I've definitely moved away from that mentality, and I've had a lot of fun annotating my books. So those were my 8 goals for 2023. I accomplished some of them I didn't accomplish them, but overall I feel like 2023 was a good reading year for me. I read a lot of good books. Of course, I read some books that weren't that great, but for the most part I'm really proud with how much reading I got done this year. Very content with 2023 as a reading year. Moving on to my 2024 reading goals. I decided to create 8 reading goals for 2024, same amount of goals that I have for 2023, just to keep things simple and not to overwhelm myself or put pressure on myself. Before I sat down to film, I was freezing, and now that I'm sitting here filming, I am sweating my butt off. My first reading goal for 2024 is to read 65 books. I switched views because my son was getting tired of being on the bed, but I kept my reading goal the same as 2023's reading goal just because I don't want to put pressure on myself to read when I don't want to read, and then I'll end up feeling bad if I don't hit my reading goal. I also think 65 is a good number of books to read per year without overdoing it, especially since I was already able to read that amount in 2023 being a mom. I think anything higher is just going to put an unnecessary amount of pressure on myself, and then I'll feel bad if I'm not keeping up with that goal, if I'm not reading enough per week. So 65 is a good number for me. If I go past it, great, but if I don't, that's fine too. And then my second reading goal for 2024 is to finish every series that I'm currently in the middle of. I think I'm in the middle of maybe 25 plus series right now, and that's just way too much. I really want to focus on finishing every series that I'm in the middle of in the new year before starting any new ones. It's getting to the point where it's ridiculous, and I'm starting to forget characters in certain series. I'm starting to forget what happened in previous books. So I really want to make it a priority to finish and complete the series that I'm in the middle of before I move on to new ones. I think I can do it. I just can't get distracted. I think I need to buy every single book of every series that I'm in the middle of. That way I force myself to read the series because I already spent money on the books, so I might as well just finish the series out, you know? I might do that. That way I force myself to finish every series. And then my next goal is to read more classics. I wanted to get into classics back in 2022, then I didn't. I have a Jane Austen book that I tried reading and then never went back to it. I ended up DNFing it, and I really want to try the classics. I really want to be knowledgeable in the classic literature. I feel like it's important for me as a reader to know classics. And yeah, I read a couple classics when I was in high school, but honestly, I don't remember anything of the books that I read in high school. So I definitely want to read more Jane Austen and all the other ones that escape my mind in 2024. Another goal that I'm keeping the same as 2023 is to read more books out of my comfort zone. This is something that I definitely want to continue to focus on in the new year, just to broaden my reading horizons, so I'm not reading the same book over and over again. And this is honestly the only way that I'll be able to discover new authors, new genres that I like, instead of again reading the same books over and over again. And my next goal is to find new authors that I love. I think I did a pretty good job of doing this in 2023. I definitely tried new authors that I had mentioned previously I would never read, like Taylor Jenkins Reid, and ended up loving her writing. And I found a ton of other new authors that I'm obsessed with, and I definitely want to continue to do that in the new year. I want to continue to find authors that are not super popular, but that still deserve a chance to be shown here on BookTube or Book Talk. My sixth goal of 2024 is to go to the library more. Like I said earlier in this video, I definitely want to make it a habit of taking my son to the library. I know that my local library also has children reading times, which I think will be really fun to take my son to. I can get books for myself, for him, and make it like a whole little mommy and son day or a family day. I definitely want to support my local library more, so I definitely am going to make this a priority. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna go to Barnes & Noble because your girl loves bookstores and loves Barnes & Noble. It's also very close to my apartment. That's never gonna stop, but I definitely want to prioritize going to the library a lot more. My son is going crazy over this thing right here, in case my microphone picks it up. I also want to continue to read for myself, not for content. Again, this is a goal that I focused on in 2023, and I did a pretty good job, and that's something I definitely want to continue to do in 2024. I don't want to try to read just to keep up with the trends or to keep up with other booktubers. I definitely just want to read for fun because I enjoy reading, not so much because I feel the need to film content around me reading it. I'm still going to film weekly reading vlogs and book recs and things like that, but obviously just reading because I want to, not because I'm obligated to, you know? And then my eighth and final goal for 2024 is to keep a digital reading journal. As I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have never kept a reading journal before, but in 2024 I definitely want to, just because sometimes I finish a book and I completely forgot what the heck the book was about or what my thoughts were, and I normally keep like a little summary in my notes app on my phone, but I want to make it more aesthetic and more cohesive and organized, and I found this really cute one on Etsy that I'm going to show you guys in a minute. So I definitely want to commit to a reading journal in 2024. We'll see how that goes. Let me know in the comments below some of your goals for the new year. I would love to know. Now we're going to move on to the most exciting part of this video, in my opinion, which is giving you guys a tour of my new digital book journal. I'm so excited about this journal. I honestly can't wait to use it. I kind of want to start using it now in December, but I'm going to wait until January to just start off the year fresh. I'm obsessed. She is so cute. This is the cover page and I'm using it on my iPad. You do need the GoodNotes app in order to use this digital reading journal. I got this off Etsy. I'll have it linked down below, but you do need the GoodNotes app, so just keep that in mind. Obviously, this is the cover page, and then if we flip, we have the index. I really love the index. It's basically just like a table of contents. On the right side of the index, there's a bunch of little tabs, kind of similar to how a real physical planner would be. And what really sold me on this planner was that each tab is actually hyperlinked. So when I click on a tab, it actually takes me to the corresponding page, as you guys can see. I love that. I thought that was so cool. I won't go through the whole journal just because it has over 800 pages and we'll be here all day, but I will give you guys a quick little overview, and then when I plan my January reads, I'll use my journal in that video so you guys can see how I organize everything. But on the right side, the tabs are as follows. So we have bookshelf, which I just showed you guys. We have my library, which is where all of my books will go, and then there's even like star ratings, so I can quickly look at the rating that I gave a book. And we have a tab for series, which this is going to be so beneficial for me to keep track of every series I'm currently in the middle of. As I mentioned earlier in the video, that's one of my goals for 2024 is to get through every book series that I'm in the middle of. And then the next tab is reading list, and I thought that this list was so fun. So we have a reading log list, which I can keep track of all the books that I'm reading, and then we have currently reading, book of the month, books that I did not finish. This is another great way to keep track of all of my DNFs. It even has a reason for abandoning book. This is going to be so helpful for me when I do my monthly wrap-ups. And then we have book releases. What is book Town. I don't know what that is. Oh, books I own. Okay, interesting. Then we have an audiobook tracker, wish list. That should be fun. We have an ebook tracker. Then we even have a library book tracker. As you guys remember, one of my goals for 2024 is to go to the library more often, and this is going to be really helpful in keeping track of all of the library books that I have and when I have to return them. Then we have challenges. I would love to film a video for a few of these challenges. So we have a A to Z challenge. Like, how fun would it be to film reading a book for every letter in the alphabet? That would be so fun. And then we have a book genre challenge, a book a week, a book a month. Love that. Then we have favorites. So favorite books, favorite quotes, favorite authors. I think this would be a good way to just keep track of all your favorite things and your favorite books. Then we have a monthly tab. So monthly reading, a monthly reflections, book of the month. It goes from January to December. If we go to the January tab for monthly reading, this is where I'm going to be keeping track of every book that I read that month. I can even add pictures of each book using this daily reading tracker. On the left side, I can set my reading goals. So for the number of books I want to read, the number of pages I want to read, number of minutes, things like that. We have a yearly tab. This would be good at the end of 2024. So a yearly reflection, yearly overview, yearly reading tracker, yearly goals. Again, I'm not gonna go through every tab, but I just thought these pages were so fun, and it's just going to make keeping track of everything again so much easier. Everything's just gonna flow. Then we have a book board tab, which I don't really understand what this is, to be honest. If you know, let me know in the comments. And then we have a tab for just random notes that I may want to add. And the most helpful out of this whole reading journal is going to be this book review page. I'm going to be able to have every information about the book in one page, and I'm going to have the title, author, all that good stuff, when I started, when I ended. I can add a picture of the book to make it look really aesthetic, write my review. I can even do like a star system rating in the book journal. I can add my favorite quote, any notes I may have. This is also going to be very helpful for me not to forget what I think about certain books after reading them, and I can easily reference this page of the book journal when I do my monthly wrap-ups or when I do like book recommendation videos for you guys. And I just love how aesthetic this journal is, so I highly recommend it. Again, I will have it linked down below. It's from Etsy. I didn't create it, someone is selling on Etsy, but I highly recommend because I think it's so cute and will just keep you so organized as a reader. I feel like this is very beneficial if you read a lot of books every month. Not so much if you don't read many books, just because, I don't know, if you don't read many books, then maybe you don't need a way to organize them all. You might want to, but I think that this journal is specifically made for people that read a ton of books every month and just want to organize their books and their thoughts and have it all in one place. So highly recommend. Super cute. All right, you guys, that is pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. Don't forget to share some of your 2024 reading goals in the comments below. Also, let me know if you're into book journals. Have you kept one before? Are you thinking of keeping one in 2024? I'm just curious to see how many readers actually use book journals and how many just don't care for them. But yeah, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you a part of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.